So what sort of research did you do for this script specifically?
I think, James and I were mostly looking at, the things that inspired the original series, the 66 series. So we went back to like the source material on all this stuff, the old comics mostly, and we wanted to just see what was inspiring that series and let that inspire us. So a lot of Dick Sprang stuff and just that over-the-top storytelling of that era.
Are there any elements of the movies in this one? Any elements at all? Tiny bits?
The movies?
The movies. Yeah.
Like
the
modern
Batman movies. Yeah,
modern movies? Yeah, I think...
tiny elements?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we do play with some of the... one of the themes in this movie is, the juxtaposition of light Batman and dark Batman.
Okay.
So I think there are some references to... modern Batman. It's not over, it's pretty subtle, but this movie is written from the point of view. It's like doing 60s Batman, having seen as dark as the old Batman could get.
Talking to James about working on Batman Breaking the Bold and trying to get the sensibilities right to where it's not, you're trying to capture that right without doing what you did on Breaking the Bold. Tell us about that creative process.
Yeah, these are both Brave and Bold and this movie are both, lighter takes on Batman, but they're very sort of different in tone. I think Brave and the Bold is probably a little bit more grounded in some ways. I mean, I think that Batman in Brave and the Bold takes everything. He's pretty serious. He's a straight man, and he's never really played for comedy. He might have some one-liners, but we're not trying to make a joke of Batman. The characters around him were sort of comedic. In this one, I think Batman is in on the joke as well. But no one's trying to be funny, but everyone's funny, if that makes sense. It's it's like Airplane, where everyone's reading ridiculous lines and doing over-the-top stuff, but they're all taking it super seriously. So I would say that's the difference in tone for these two.
Is there anything that didn't make it into the movie? Was there some ideas that just didn't get it?
I think the one thing that I sort of regret that didn't make it in the movie is there's a song called Miranda. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but in the 60s, Adam West sang a song as Batman called Miranda.
Yes.
And so we were going to build the whole third act around a song where we'd have him singing the song, and we couldn't get the rights to the song, so it was left out, but that would have been fun to have.
What else are you working on in the DC realm?
Well, my day job is Teen Titans Go, so that's I know a show that very decisive amongst comic book fans. But it's a fun show. Kids really like it, so I just get worried people here find out that I work on the show.
I don't understand the vitriol for that show because it's so fun and lighthearted. I mean, the episode probably my favorite is when they kick the Beast Boy out and they have their recruitment. So they get
Wonder Twins.
Yeah, they get the Wonder Twins, but you also get like the audition. So even like the Wanna Beast comes in.
Look, I get it. I think most people who don't like the show haven't ever even seen the show.
Sure.
And then those who have think we're trying to tell the same serious stories. And we're not. And they're also, they're huge fans of Teen Titans from 2003, and they want to see that continue. And in some ways, they look at our show as like a roadblock. It's like, this is the reason that show's not continuing. So I get it, but, it's funny because it's like, of all the things I've ever worked on, I've never worked on anything more hated, but it's like also nothing's been as successful as Teen Titans. Like, the show is a huge success. So I guess some of the hate has to come with that.
I guess. I mean, they did the same thing for Batman Brave and the Bold. They're like, why can't we have a serious Batman show? I'm like, well, why take this?
I felt by the end of Brave and the Bold, people won. We won over a lot of people. Like,
it's so good.
Yeah, and James and I, we were like, we wanted to win people over. We were like, on Teen Titans, we do not want to win the people over who hate us. we poke them with sticks. It's like if they hate us, then we're gonna be even worse in your eyes. So we have actually an episode of Teen Titans Go that's coming up, I think, next month that I think fans will rip us apart for. So it's called The Cape. Tell people, fans of the old show, to watch it, because if they're looking for another reason to come after us, that's it.
Tone-wise, did you feel like you captured everything that you wanted to for this movie?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tone's a tough one to pull off because it is that sort of airplane comedy. It's telling jokes without telling jokes, just assuming that the audience is going to get that it's a joke, even though the characters are reading these lines seriously and the actions portrayed seriously. It's like the humor has to you have to get that we know we're being ridiculous. We know we're having the characters say ridiculous things. So that's I think we capture that, hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully. I don't know. You guys will tell me.
Is there a particular DC property that you'd want to write or want to work on that you haven't worked on yet?
And I think through Brave and the Bold, I think we touched like almost every single character possible in the DC world. There, anybody we wanted to mess with, we got to do a sort of a weird take on. So that was fun. Yeah, I think that I was able to scratch all my DC itches on that show. So. Otherwise, I don't know. I like taking the serious characters and making them silly. I don't know why that's fun for me.
What's an example of one of your favorite times that you did that?
Well, I mean, which one? I don't know. Brave and Bold. Brave and Bold. We did that. When I started Brave and Bold, I didn't necessarily know as much of the DC lore as when I ended Brave and the Bold. So a lot of it would be James telling me about a character that he read as a kid, and then I would just react to the character. And it's like I wouldn't know how they portrayed the character, like Haunted Tank, for instance. To me, that's the most ridiculous sounding character in the world, but that's yet a character that some people seem to make really, really serious. I mean, it's a haunted tank with a Confederate origin. What? And so when I reacted to that, I'm like, that is purely a comedy character. And then I find out, oh, you could actually go pretty serious with them. So, no, it was just, that was one of the most fun things I did on Brave and Bold, was just react to characters, not having the background in some of the obscure characters, and be able to come up with my own take without having been influenced by, a comic I read as a kid.
I mean, you did have some serious episodes in Brave and the Bold. You had Chill of the Night, which is probably the most serious tonal-wise.
Yeah.
Bruce, finding Joe and, telling him, hey, you killed my parents and created me. Is there any sort of serious, actual... I just don't want to see the Waynes die anymore. I'm tired of seeing the Waynes die.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's like anytime you get an iconic character, and I've been working on these characters for so long now, you want to do your version of the famous scene, whatever the famous scene is. And it's like even in, the latest Batman movie,
which one?
You see the death of the Waynes, right? It's like, we don't need to see it. Everybody knows what's happening, and it's not going to be that much different. It's going to be an alley, some pearls are going to drop, and everybody thinks like, oh, I'm going to do something really unique and creative with this origin story. And it's like the unique and creative thing to do is to not show it. You don't want to see it anymore. But, it's like the hubris of storytellers. It's like, anybody who gets a chance to work with Batman thinks that they're going to be the definitive Batman storyteller. It's like, I don't care who it is, or the comic, TV, movie, everybody thinks I'm the best, creative person in the world, and my version of Batman is going to be the definitive one, so I better show the most important scene. So, it all comes from arrogance on our end. But, I've been doing it long enough now. It's like, oh, okay, I don't need to do the stuff that everyone's been doing a million times. It's more interesting to sort of tackle stuff that's a little bit more obscure or different, or
Who's your favorite character to write for on Teen Titans Go?
They're all fun. I mean, I'm a little bit like Robin, so I think I work out some of my issues through that character. I know he's super unlikable and controlling. No, I'm not controlling, but I could be a little, like, the things that he gets obsessed with, I think I sometimes get obsessed with. So, you know, like if you see an episode about property rental on Teen Titans Go, that's because, you know, that's an interest of mine.
Especially how you know, he's a kid. But
Yeah.
this is what he thinks about.
Yes. We're not that different, like I said. Both childlike mentalities. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fun show because we could do whatever we want on it, and there's no real rules. And, you know, we've been pretty weird, and people still come back to us. So it's like we're constantly getting weirder and weirder. And,
Did you guys have any rules, I guess, for the movie?
you know, we just wanted to make sure this movie was worthy of animation, you know, which just means that, you know, we're drawing our inspiration from a lot of things. It's like, you know, the 66 series being one of them. What did the 66 series what couldn't they do because of, you know, budgets? And so how can we make it bigger than that, do things they never could have done? But other than that, I mean, it's just, we wanted, the only real rule was to capture the spirit of a lighter Batman where, you know, the villains were bad but not evil, you know, so to speak, you know, pure evil.
The movie different. I don't know how they took over the United Nations. It's kind of.
It's evil, but it's a different kind of,
Right.
you know, I mean, not that they weren't bad guys. I mean, they want to kill Batman, but at the
Right.
same time, you know, they're more interested in how they're dressed and, you know, how they say something and the alliteration that comes out of their mouth. I mean, they're fun. I guess that's it. It's like, yeah, they're evil and bad, but they're also fun. You know, you would want to go to a party with these guys.
Exactly.
Do you have an opinion on the recent live-action DC movies, or are you not allowed to?
I'm not allowed to have an opinion. No, I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I don't know. I mean, it's just, you know, my take on interpreting these characters is that, you know, because I've been fortunate enough to be able to do my versions of characters, it'd be really stupid of me to look at some other creative guy and say, oh, you're doing it wrong, or you're
Right.
I could have an opinion whether I like it or not, but, you know, I think everybody deserves a shot to, you know, interpret a character or have fun with a character regardless of, you know, what I think. So, yeah, I you know, they'll do their take, and, you know, in a couple of years someone else will come in and do something different. So it's not like this is the only Batman movie if you didn't like it or if you loved it. I mean, there'll be another one, you know, next year or the year after. So
Cool.